We'll call the Wednesday, May 13th, 2026 Planning Commission meeting to order, and roll call.
Dennis Ferraro, Eagles Nest Road.
Bethany Cody, Lake Enchantment.
Jim Johnson, White Oak Drive.
Linda Winslow, Norwood Street.
Eric Fowler, staff planner.
Approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes from the previous meeting, April 22nd, 2026.
Motion to approve.
It's 26, not 22. It says 22 on here. Is it supposed to be 26? Oh, never mind.
your
You're
minutes?
saying 2026, right? I
Yeah.
got it. Okay, I was,
April 22nd.
yeah, perfect.
Did I say 2022, Linda? You're scaring me now.
No, you're good.
All right.
Second the motion.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any public comment? Don't look like it, since there's no one here. We'll move on to new business, 6A, special use public hearing request. Proposed mini warehouse storage land use to be located on property located within the development district. Per the Marquette Township zoning ordinance, property address is 4135 US 41 in Marquette. Parcel tax ID is 520801902420. Applicant is Matthew Trito Engineering and Development, 2915 Parkview Drive in Marquette. Eric?
Thank you. So I will note that Matthew Trito is the applicant on this. Property owner is Andrew Kilpala, who owns Yard Builders LLC, and this property is where that business is operated out of. Yellow dot here shows the general location. You can see the Wright Street 41 intersection with that yellow line on the far right side, just to give you some context as to what we're looking at here. So this property is right up near the township, Marquette Township, Marquette Township, Negaunee Township line, kind of across the highway from where Gartner's Gallery is now located. Here's a closer up look at the property, so you can see that it does have access off of US 41, and then it also abuts the Iron Ore Heritage Trail right-of-way. So again, just a little bit more information on the site-specific details. They are proposing, here's the zoning, orange is DD, the lighter yellow color is RR, rural residential. So it does border rural residential. I know that a lot of the special use permit requirements in the ordinance in the DD state that when it borders residential, it requires a special use permit. But in this case, it flat out requires that special use permit no matter what it borders. Here is the full site plan, and I do have it zoomed in a little bit on the corner where they are proposing the construction. So again, this is the site plan. I will note too that in January of last year, a special use permit was proposed or was approved by the Planning Commission for this property for a diesel mechanic. That use was never initiated and never started. So while approved, and it still remains approved with us, it was never initiated, and I don't know whether the mechanic, the business operator, found a different location or just didn't start it up, or I'm not sure what happened, but it was never established at the property. So at this point, the sole user of the property is Andrew Kilpala and Yard Builders LLC. So again, it does border the Iron Ore Heritage Trail. Jason and I, we sat down with Matt and Andrew, and I mean, we saw that as a kind of a key component to this. We have received some complaints about this property and as far as how they're keeping it, property maintenance wise, materials from the business kind of spilling all over. So we we feel like we're on the same page with the property owners as far as how we want them to maintain their business. He does good work. You can check out his pictures on like the websites that, the sample work, and it's good work. So, I mean, we kind of told him, keep it like the product that you put out there for the community. Keep your property like that too. It's kind of the expectation we put on him, and it was well received. The access to the R&R Heritage Trail off the back you can see into the property from the trail. So we did, and they stated in the application here, we did kind of come to the agreement that they would put in a privacy gate, a fence, to kind of screen the view and the users of his property from the R&R Heritage Trail. So here's a closer up view. Again, I'm kind of probably getting into too much detail, being that this is just the public hearing request and we don't even have the applicants here tonight. But here's the site plan as they proposed it. It's six 40 by 120 storage units. They are proposing a minimum 50-foot setback away from the creek, which is shown with that blue line running through. They do have an Eagle permit in hand to build a culvert over that creek. Well, I guess over is the way to put that. And that was issued, I can't read that on the screen, but it was issued in October of last year, and it expires in October of 2030. So I guess that's how Eagle does it. They give you a 5-year span to get the work done. So they do have that Eagle permit in hand. Here's some elevations of what they propose them to look like. Staff, we see it as a complete application. Like I said, we've been working with the property owner, and they've kind of offered some things as far as that fence and moving the buildings a little bit, because they originally proposed it even closer to that creek, and we said, let's try to get it at least 50 feet away. And we actually used a mark from the PUD language to come up with that 50 feet. There is currently in the PUD language requirements to keep structures 50 feet away from creeks, wetlands, so on and so forth. So we kind of found that in the ordinance, and we gave that to them and said, let's try to get these structures at least 50 feet away, and they came back to us with a different site plan. So again, they've been working with us on this because we knew it would be, especially with the residential neighbors and the kind of the existing special use permit, we knew it would be somewhat of a different ask here. But we do see it as a complete application, and we would suggest scheduling the public hearing for I didn't put a date on it.
June 10th.
Let's see.
June 10th.
I apologize. Yes, it would be June 10th. We would suggest scheduling the public hearing for June 10th, 2026 at 6 p.m.
Why are they, so I know the property because we had that thing last
Sure.
year, and I know how the driveway goes up from 41. But what's the purpose of a culvert over the creek?
So the culvert over the creek is for, so here's the highway, here's the driveway. And so there's kind of a road that goes back to the R&R Heritage Trail, which is here. And so the creek runs here, and the culvert would be to get kind of the driveway over to that side of the property.
Oh, I see.
Well, they're just gonna have that one entrance into the,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah, there's no,
So this is new construction.
correct, yep.
Okay, that's what it is.
So Eric, each unit is 40 feet by 100 feet?
Yes,
Those are huge.
40 by 120,
And there's 6 of them?
yes.
They are huge, aren't they huge?
That's, I think, a pretty typical size for like a storage unit.
Oh, well, I think you could put your camper in it. How high are they?
Should be at that elevation.
And this will be, Eric, is this gonna be like rental to the public, or is it?
Yeah, yep.
There's one that's gonna have a bathroom.
One has a bathroom?
If you go to that floor plan, this one, you see it right here, there's like a side door.
Well, I guess what,
Being a public, I mean, if the intention is, well, as far as I know, the intention is for it to be accessible to the public, or at least to market it to the public, so that might be a requirement due to that, I'm not sure. We did see that. And these, knowing the applicants, I'm sure they'll, at least one of them, either Matt or Andrew will be at the actual public hearing, should it be scheduled tonight, so they can certainly answer those questions.
Oh, it's climate control too.
yeah. Okay, that's not fair to ask you, sorry.
Yeah, I can tell you what I know, but
Yeah,
I don't know everything, so.
oh, okay.
Is that utilities provided by the township to that property?
Yes.
Oh, so it has sewer and water?
No, well, sewer and water do not go that far, no. So that would be, this is well and septic up here.
Well, it's, okay. And are they putting in a separate septic system for the bathroom area, or is that, do you share the septic with the other, with Yardworks?
Yeah, I am unaware of that. That's something I could certainly look into and find out for the public hearing meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
This is the Iron Ore Heritage Trail. Is there anything, what's the closest next to that, to these ones? Like for the property
That's
over here? Is
like
that just
undeveloped,
land?
undeveloped property,
Undeveloped.
yeah. There's the actual satellite imagery. And there you can see the whole adjacent next property, and yeah, and the topography, and I mean, you may look at this and say, well, why aren't they building on the other side? And the topography, and that's kind of why, if you remember, that mini golf course went, or didn't happen, is because, and it wasn't on this property, but it was, I think, on the adjacent one to the west. That's why that did not turn out, just because the geology and the topography was a little too challenging.
I don't see why there's no reason not to schedule a public hearing to see, to find out more and to see if the neighbors have any concerns.
I don't even know if there are neighbors within 300 feet.
There will be some across, and I think
This one?
that is, what's the neighborhood on the other side right there? That would be Northwood Estates.
Yeah, because
Yep.
they came to the last
Yep.
one.
Did they? I don't remember anybody being there from the.
Gene Johnson came, Gene,
Just a little, yeah.
it's not Gene Johnson, but,
I'll make a motion to have a proposed special use public hearing request on, what was the date? May 27th?
June 10th.
June 10th.
June 10th. Word that correctly, please.
Second the motion.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. No unfinished business. US 41 Corridor Committee meeting minutes from March 10th, 2026. Eric?
Yep, those are there just for your review. Those meetings with that corridor group have been very quiet recently. We haven't really seen many site plans. I think the last one was for a proposed quick trip in Marquette Township on the corner of 41 and 28, where the Travel Lodge Motel is currently. So that was approved at the last, not at this, the minutes from this meeting is not when that was approved. That's just the last site plan I can remember being approved by that group, and I think that was January. Being that it's kind of the development season, I'm sure they'll see a few more and action will pick up. But we just had a meeting with that group of Tuesday on this week, and it was over in 10 minutes because there was no updates. So, yeah. So if you have any questions on that, otherwise, that's all I've got.
Any questions? All right. 8B, master plan update adoption schedule. Public hearing set for Wednesday, May 27th at 6 PM.
Just what it says there, that's our next planning commission meeting, and that is the date we set for the public hearing. The 63-day review period ends this week, I believe. We've gotten some comments back, mostly from either other staff people or appointed or elected representatives from the township. We did get comments back from the county as well, so we've been kind of parsing through those and including what's relevant and kind of massaging what's not. And we've been working with the consultant to get that final draft, and we'll have that final draft for that public hearing. The changes from probably the most recent draft you've received, I mean, most of the changes, almost all of the changes that we've done are either grammar, formatting, spelling, really the minor stuff.
So no comments or anything written from like regular public then on about any of it?
As far as I'm aware, no.
Okay. Any comments or questions about this? Okay. Well, I guess we'll move on to the reports. 9A Township Board Report, Linda Winslow.
So the Township Board met on May 6th here in Township Hall. We talked about a couple things, but we did have a presentation by Bob Hendrickson from the IOHRA. It's his annual report to us. He shared that they would be working this year on the 12 feet wide pathway to Laken Land for bikers and walkers. And he also talked a little bit about Koski Woods, which is in Marquette Township, and Nagani Township, and so we might see some development with that. We also approved the COLA adjustment for North Country Disposal, which may be an indicator that our garbage bills may be increasing because they're also increasing, is it called the tonnage or whatever they charge us? Tipping fees, yeah. They will be increasing in July. We also approved financing to buy a new ladder truck. Our old ladder truck is 25 years old or more. We also approved to put an EMS millage request on the ballot for August to see if the residents are supportive of increasing that millage. We will be paving Forestville Road. That had been on the to-do list for a while, a couple years, so we'll pay 50% of that. We also have a chip seal contract with the road commission, and there'll be certain roads that are on the list will get chip sealed this year. We also decided to purchase some acoustic materials for the pickleball court to reduce the noise. It's going to be 9 feet tall, and it'll be removed in the winter time and stored. So hopefully that will work for the noise.
You're storing it in that little building, or do they have to store it somewhere else?
I don't know how wide it is, so we'll kind of have to wait and see.
Zamboni still in there?
No, I think they got rid of the Zamboni. We do,
You know,
yeah,
I-
we have
I
a,
know
por-
it was
we have a,
listed for sale, I don't,
yeah, I
hose
don't know where
now?
it went. Yeah, no, we have a hose and a makeshift Zamboni that worked, according to them. I don't know. John Leighton could be a good resource. Could
Okay.
tell you if it worked. He was spending time there. That's pretty much what we talked about. Please review the minutes when they're sent to you. Yeah, and then I was able to attend the Central UP Housing Summit at Northern. It's always interesting to see what's going on with housing in our county. And they talked a little bit about the Land Division Act, where that passed the government, the Senate and the House in Michigan, where people who have 10-acre parcels or 1 acre can divide it into 10 now. So that could increase housing opportunities if people are wanting to do that.
sorry to interrupt.
Add to it, no, add, Eric,
I was
yeah.
gonna say, sorry to interrupt, and I don't know the specific details on this, but I do know that that law doesn't fully supersede local zoning. So
Yeah.
even though it says, the law, and it's, in the language says you, with a 10-acre parcel, you can split it up into 10.
Yeah,
I do know there are some mechanisms in there that do allow for local control. I don't know, again, don't know exactly what those are, but,
So in other words, in the zoning district where the minimum lot size has to be 5 acres
right,
in our township, that will remain.
exactly.
that's my
This is a
understanding.
topic that came up. This was a bill that was opposed by the Michigan Township Association. We had a discussion about it, and I guess we decided not to join in opposing the bill because Eric thought that it would not be a big problem, so, but it
Yeah.
sounds like it's not gonna be, it's not gonna affect the ability to vote.
Yeah, so still the legislature is in session, and there are lots of bills still floating out there. One of the houses says yes, the other one says no. So I also attended the Michigan Township Association Annual Education Meeting, and when we did legislative update, it was pretty much nothing's moving. Things are just back and forth. But one of the things that I did attend that I thought should, I feel should maybe be of interest to us is what townships need to know about data centers. And that presentation, they really thought that we need to have an ordinance in place about data centers before we get approached. So there's lots of things going on downstate, lots of discussion, lots of people at township board meetings, because someone is saying yes, and then the residents are saying no, and then it'll all be in court. But there was a cover story on the Township Focus for April, May, and it says what townships need to know about data centers. So I don't know if you guys saw this, but I would recommend that we add this to our agenda and get something going earlier than later.
Is there any data center in the
Not yet, but my husband worked at Wisconsin Energy, so I asked him if we have high power voltage lines, and he said he thought so. And that's what they're looking for, water, high power voltage lines to hook into the grid, I would say. And one other thing. It's not jobs. They don't provide a lot of jobs, okay? They might provide a lot of jobs to build
Yeah, they need the land,
the water,
and the power.
yeah. So the presenter at the workshop in Traverse City really suggested that we do something before rather than after. And I know I voiced that concern at the township board meeting, and they kind of went, oh, they're never gonna come here, it's too cold. Well, I don't think that's
Do you
true.
remember the name of the presenter?
I have that, I can email you.
Can you?
Sure.
All right, that'd be great, yeah. You know, as I recall, didn't one of the municipalities that we sent the master plan to come back with a comment,
The county did.
the county, about, yeah, that was kind of, I didn't quite understand the comment. Was it, was it cautionary, a comment? Do you remember what it was, Eric?
I don't know.
But they were trying to raise the issue too.
I think so.
And so this was certainly done before the master plan draft went out for the public review, but once we got what the consultant saw as a complete draft, Jason and I kind of talked about it. It was 10 chapters, and it ended with the goals and objectives. And Jason and I got to talking, and we said, well, what about a lot of this stuff that we were talking about, data centers and wetland protection and the list of other things that we know that we're gonna have to amend our ordinance for. And so we kind of presented back to Bria with SEH saying we want to do a chapter 11 with a kind of future considerations. So that's kind of where that came about. So I do know that they're mentioned in that future considerations, kind of talking about what we just talked about, the power drain and the water drain and an endless list of things that we see in the news on data centers. So that, I mean, they are listed in the master plan. I, off the top of my head, cannot recall exactly. I mean, of course, we don't make any hard recommendations, being that it's just a future considerations section. But I do know the language kind of is around being cautious about it and being proactive, much like you just said, being proactive on the issue rather than wait for something to come to us and then reacting to it.
It was just in the news, I just looked up, just to be accurate, that Delta County Planning Commission approves data center moratorium. So that was just April 7th, 2026, or on April 6th, they did that to implement a 12-month moratorium on new data center and cryptocurrency mining development. The pause will allow officials to develop zoning ordinances.
Yep.
So they just did that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, so, you know, I think,
It definitely warrants an agenda item, and we can include it on the next agenda.
so the other thing they talked about, and I don't quite know what happened to our person that we were gonna hire to go out and do maintenance.
I've got an update on that under.
Good, okay, because I can see the junk,
Yes.
as you all can, right? So that's all I have.
You know,
I have a note.
I watched the video of the township meeting that you were at May 6th, I think it was. And I thought it was interesting that, so to get a new, is it a hook and ladder truck? We're gonna use the $500,000 that we got from the selling the land to Renovari, to Mitch, whatever. And we're gonna do an interdepartmental loan at 3.85% interest, which will be paid to ourselves. But it was amazing the way that was gonna be happening. That was
So that's not the first time that's been used.
yeah.
So the last fire truck that we purchased a year ago, we received a year ago, we purchased it prior to that. The same thing happened, was it was an departmental loan, and they paid interest, and then we were able to get the fire truck for lesser money because we paid up front. So that's exactly what's happening again. So, yeah.
Wasn't there a millage for that?
There-
fire truck? Part of it then, I guess, was paid for
There-
through millage?
It is, but they have to collect it, and fire trucks are over $1 million. And so they don't collect that much every year. So they have a whole system. So, yeah, so it's a better interest rate, I think, than the banks are paying today.
Does the millage for that then go until it's paid off? Or does it
There,
expire
I think
after?
it's a 10-year millage. It's a 10-year payback loan, and the millage will probably, I did ask that question because I was concerned about other equipment, like, I'm hoping all this millage doesn't have to pay this truck, because we could get in, we could need other equipment, and then we wouldn't have any money. So they assured me that everything was gonna work. So we'll see.
They won't need any more trucks for a while then, I'm assuming?
I'm not sure. I'm a huge believer in putting money aside to purchase. So I call that preventative maintenance, okay? So you need a fund to replace what you need to replace, the life expectancy of a piece of equipment. Like, I'll use our police car for an example. That police car, life expectancy is, I think, 3 years. So every year we put so much money away for the police car, so in 3 years we can buy one. So this year they said, they said it's good enough to go another year, and I said, no. We put that money away to buy it, let's buy it, and we'll either sell it or we'll put it into our fleet, okay? Because if you start moving money where you didn't plan for it to be, you get in trouble. So, well, probably not us, but our children will certainly get into trouble. So, we did buy a new police car, just so you know. So it's that same thing, the fire department needs to come back to the board or to the public with their whole plan, just like we do here. So hopefully, I know the water department, Public Works, they have a plan now. So they know which trucks have to be replaced when. We need that everywhere. Even at home, we sometimes need that, right?
Schools too.
Schools, restaurant, I mean, really,
Condo associations, when I was in Chicago, the condo
yeah,
building I lived in, we had a reserve fund.
yep,
We were assessed a certain amount of money every month to put into that reserve fund, because when you needed to top point a 30-story building, you had to have some,
Yeah.
some money, right?
So hopefully, people will think more long-term. The thing that comes into play is if your population starts to decrease and your houses stop selling and, there's pieces, you have less children in a school system and you budget it for more money coming in from home. I mean, so what happened here is that we budgeted for our road funding, and then along came people that went to the state of Michigan and asked to get their taxes reduced. So that's how we got in. That's how we get less money than anticipated.
Oh, that's
And what is that
revenue.
called? I can't think of it. Dark store
Dark
issues.
store.
So we have a ton of places along the highway, and there are some apartment complexes that went to the dark store and got their taxes reduced. When they made that budget to do road funding, they never thought, no one ever thought that would happen. And they started in the UP to do that. They didn't go downstate and do it. So the outcry from us is not as loud as the outcry will be from a larger county business area downstate.
And that's why you should expand the DDA to go up over into those stores so you can get some of your money back.
Correct. That would be my plan, but I don't have a say. I have to stay in my lane, right, kind of thing.
Seemed to be some resistance to that when I brought it up before, so
Oh,
I don't know.
is that the township board that you would bring it to?
Yeah, I was mentioning to a couple people.
Or at the DDA? Do they expand? Do they get to choose?
Well, you can
Yes.
expand it whenever you want, yeah.
So the DDA would make that recommendation? Oh,
No, township board wouldn't. DDA wouldn't really,
Well, they would start with the DDA, no? But
Yeah,
with a
yeah.
formal approval ultimately by the board.
it has to be
oh,
approved
so
by
the
board.
DDA would come to us with that. You may have a receptive chairperson for that.
You probably raised quite a bit of money from that.
Well, and, we have a couple roundabouts out there that need to get a
Or something,
facelift.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
It's similar discussions like this they happen all the time at the DDA meetings, and it's something that's been discussed before.
Oh.
That's why I smile.
It's good to smile. So that's all I have, unless you have some questions. I'm happy to attempt to answer them.
At that housing, was it mostly, seemed like there were so many developers there, it was just gonna be mostly about development?
We went to different workshops.
Yeah.
And
Small
listened to
groups or
people
something.
talk. Mitch, who is our developer, the wildflower developer, did talk about, the issues he's faced. And then some of the other people talked about, what was going on and what, but I thought it was valuable, but I always think it's valuable just if all you do is network with other people and find out what's going on. So again, they went over the statistics about how many housing units we need, what we have coming. And again, the audience said $1,700 a month rent is too high for people who are working in the businesses in Marquette. Where do you want these people to live? Someone talked extensively about K.I. Sawyer, putting housing out there, and we talked about our transportation system. It's not like Chicago. You can't get on a bus and get to work in time. You can't get on a bus and get home in time. And they talked about why can't busing do that? Why can't Marquette do that? And I would say because the ridership isn't there.
Did we talk about this home value tolerance that's in this handout that we had?
The what, Jim?
Home value tolerance in Marquette County for the capture with new builds. And it's in high demand to build new houses is $250 to $275.
I know, and that's not what
How are
we're
you gonna build a
getting at.
house for that much money? And, how are they planning on doing that if they have this on their agenda?
I don't know how they're gonna do that, because I think the new houses that are going up are between $350 and $400.
Yeah, but 17 of the ones that are going up in this development are gonna be under 275.
Yeah, but why? Only because of the brownfield and the other grants that they got.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, if you just build
Oh,
something, you
yeah.
Yeah, so
can't do without any kind
yeah.
of government
Yeah,
funding.
right, but why can't, so I guess we're all being taped, right? The Habitat for Humanity project is a great project, right? It allows people to get into homes, but those people have to work to get into those homes, right? Well, where's the model that allows other people to work to get into their homes? So you have to qualify to get into Habitat, right? You have to apply, you have to be a certain income. Well, what about the people we say workforce housing? I'll use Jim's employees. Where's the program where Jim's employees can go and work on their home? Because they don't qualify for Habitat, but they don't have enough money to buy a $300,000 house. So where's that program? Can't we incentivize, not me, because I don't know where to start, but it seems like that would be the place to go to find a program. Let's let our apprentices wire the houses, which they do for Habitat now. Why can't they wire the houses for their coworkers? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And I don't know why we can't help people, because all of us sitting here have a house. All of us, right? Yeah.
Well, I think with Habitat is, they can only do like one or two a year.
They're gonna do how many by the medical center?
That they did?
They bought that property. The medical center has, how many lots are they gonna build on there?
Is that Habitat that bought all that?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they're gonna be Habitat houses. Isn't that right?
I don't know.
I think that's right, yeah. There'll probably be 4 or 5 there.
Okay.
Google that, Bethany, Google that. Yeah, that was, somebody did a land swap.
Well, it's gonna take a while to build all those. I'll bet,
They'll ask for volunteers, and people are willing to help.
yeah.
I mean, our community is good at helping people. The neighbors
That's what
even,
to come to if you want a house, you're gonna have to have a bunch of people do volunteer labor on it.
I don't know.
Build a,
I don't know, but there's not enough houses to buy, and the ones that people are selling in our community are way overpriced, I'll just say that. For our
Going
income.
down now, though.
Are they going down?
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot that are, they start out high, and I see on Zillow, $40,000 drop, $60,000 drop, and yeah, it's kind of coming down a little bit now.
Yeah, so anyways, I think it's important to attend education sessions. I say that all the time. I say that no matter if it's just networking with people that you maybe don't even know. People came from, all over the county, and yeah.
Well, I think I was actually signed up for that, but I had to stay home with sick kids, so I couldn't make it. But the events, I was at the one last year, because this was the second annual, I
Yep,
believe. This event in particular, the way it connects developers and government folks, and, I mean, gets a lot of different people in the same room. Whereas usually you're just in the same room with more people like you. I'm in the room with a bunch of planners and government officials learning about zoning or something. But the forum, at least last year, and it sounds like it was very similar this year, the variety of people in the room was, again, that was the value in it, I think.
So,
Is that the one we were at last year? Same
Probably,
thing?
you know, the housing summit, yep.
Yep, Habitat, swapped properties with the Beacon House. That was right there.
Oh,
They
yeah.
plan to build this.
how many does it say, how
It
many?
doesn't say that.
The city is building some things with money from the county, it's not the county land bank. Where do they get money from? That Andrew is part of.
Brownfield.
Yeah, so there's, but again, many of those places are rentals.
I was kind of surprised that they got that property to build on after the big hullabaloo that was going on before, when they were gonna put those town
Lots.
halls or whatever up, and they probably don't want to say anything against Habitat for Humanity, so.
Well, it's the parking lot, so they didn't own it. So I think someone must have gave that property to Beacon House, and Beacon House must have wanted the property by where Beacon House is, and they swapped it.
Okay.
Right, so it's where, I think, in my mind, it's where the parking lot from the medical center extends. If you ride your bike, it's like down in there. That's where they're gonna build them. I don't know how many. I really did think it was 5, but I could be wrong. So, 5 houses that will be owned, usually families with children. Yeah.
Okay. Anything more?
No, that was way too long. Jason would have been like giving me the eye.
All right, any rec committee report?
Nothing major. I do know they met recently to kind of review this noise issue with the pickleball at Lions Field. And I think it was the recommendation to get these acoustic panels that come from the rec committee. So that's what they've been up to recently.
Can you get me on the mailing list
For the rec committee?
for the rec? Yeah,
Sure.
I was volunteered for it.
Yeah, right.
And
And you're not on it yet, hey?
So I'm not a member, so I'd like to attend the next meeting, if I'm able.
Usually they send something out when it's gonna be, and I didn't see anything.
I don't know,
I would think you would've got a notice, since you volunteered to be on it.
I thought so, but
Not to put the onus on him or the blame on him, but Jason usually deals with the rec committee, so
He's asking to put me on the.
I'll let him.
Since he was kind enough to volunteer me for it.
Hey, because you're the planning commission
Right.
Liaison.
representative on the, yeah.
All right, planning and zoning report, Eric, what do you have?
Yeah, so I got I mean, not long, but a long list of updates here that we actually had an internal kind of development staff meeting. First one in probably all winter, spring, before the development season really kicks off here, but we did get together and talk about all these things, so we had a nice handy list ready for tonight. Westwood Mall, there have been kind of positive conversations between actually a couple different brokers, as we've heard it, and the owner. And I think there are purchase agreements in hand. Whether they're going to be signed or agreed upon or not, we'll see, but there have been, we know, positive conversations on a sale for the mall, so.
The sale would include, the two on the end,
No.
no, it wouldn't, oh,
Those are standalone parcels. Dunham's and Kohl's are standalone parcels.
do those companies own those? Oh, I didn't know that.
They're kind of cut out of the larger piece. So like the parcel shape of the mall site right now, it's a little crazy. So, because you've got the North Iron Church cut out of it, Dunham's cut out of it, Cole's cut out of it, Applebee's cut out of it on the south side.
That little strip mall with,
H&R.
I think, yep, that's cut out of it, where H&R Block is and where Renthal is going, which is another one of my updates. Yeah, so again, the parcel, the configuration of the parcel itself is pretty funky, but, I mean, brokers are still interested because it's a great location and a prime opportunity, so. Mountain Manufacturing, which is the manufacturing company moving into the old Best Buy property. Renovations are in progress. They've added some windows on the kind of US 41 side of the building. The big pole sign came down this week, which had been black. It was the old circle Best Buy or the oval Best Buy sign, and it was blacked out. So that I literally actively saw them taking it down this week, so I do know that's down. And I'm not sure when Mountain Manufacturing is planning on getting going in that space, but it should be pretty soon. Cherry Creek Construction, which is the construction firm approved to move in and operate out of the old Mountain Manufacturing location on Brookton Road. Again, they're approved by you guys. I mean, since this was a list for staff, you may know some of these things as I read them, but they are just doing minor interior office renovations, and then they should be up and running at that site. Car wash project on the highway with the old Jasmine restaurant property, that is in progress. The abandonment of the 30-foot Ryan's Alley right-of-way that splits that property is in circuit court. So that is nearing kind of the end of that requirement before they're able to build kind of right in the center of it. So Loads of Fun, which is it's now Loads of Fun, but it was, I think, Cupcakes Car Wash, which is actually right next door to the site I just mentioned. They switched it from a car wash to a laundromat. And so that minor building renovation and parking expansion was approved. Parking expansion was needed because they shared parking. There was a parking agreement with Chris, and with the change of use from a car wash to a laundromat required more parking spaces, and so they had to enlarge their parking lot a little bit. The Heritage Trails PUD, that PUD agreement has finally been approved and recorded, so they are permitted to move forward with kind of the full scale of construction. Up until this point, without that approved, or without the approved and recorded PUD, all they were permitted to do was basically site clearing, cutting trees down and stuff. So that PUD agreement is approved and recorded, and so they can move forward there. Acoustic panels for the Lions Field pickleball court have been ordered and shipped and should be going up soon. The VA home is ongoing. We really don't hear much, if any, updates on that, being that it was approved by us probably 2 years ago at this point. Well, we didn't, not approved, but kind of brought to us 2 years ago at this point. And I drive by it a couple times a week, and there's something always going on up there, earth moving. Culvers, if you've noticed driving by, they have been closed the past couple days for adding that extra drive-through lane and dumpster enclosure, and I understand they're doing some interior stuff. There was an article on TV6 today about ownership being changed as well. I was aware of the ownership change through kind of the business licensing process, but I didn't really know they were kind of soft launching or relaunching and kind of a new ownership, new way of doing things. So not sure when they'll be done with that and when it will be reopened, but I assume it'd be pretty quick because they probably don't want to stay shut down for very
It said
long.
May 23rd, but
Okay. No more than I
seems
do.
pretty soon.
Renthal is relocating from the mall, which they can, although I did hear today that some of those businesses were able to get in and get their stuff out,
Good.
outside of probably the ones that were directly under where it came in, but the other businesses were able to get in there and get some inventory out. But Renthal is relocating to where Par Planet was.
The roof caved in?
Mall, yeah.
Oh,
In March.
missed that.
Yeah.
You know.
So yeah, they've been, the county, did the county go as far as condemning it? I think they did. So yeah, it's been closed to the public for months now, yeah.
Wow.
So that's kind of where the interest in the sale of the property kind of is coming in, yep. So yeah, Rental is relocating. I'm going over, they're basically taking their sign off the front of the mall and putting it on this building, so I've been looking at that permit this week. Really, nothing really too exciting there, but good to see them be able to reopen. I have been in touch with a few of the, I guess, more small business owners, because I mean, you got your Rental, Maurice's, Bath and Body Works, Hallmark, so some of those more national chains. I mean, I think they have some of the resources to deal with something like this, whereas those small businesses, I know LSCP has reached out and has tried to engage with them and some other organizations. But I have heard from a couple of them relocating and things like that. So sad to see, but I think it's getting resolved in some shape or form as far as those businesses go. So property maintenance, Jason and I did go up 550 last week. In between right where you turn on to 550 from the city, so like say Tourist Park and Sugarloaf, we flagged 8 properties that we've sent letters on. That's traditionally not what we do as far as the canvassing, kind of picking them out. But it is bad enough heading up there, especially in that first little kind of heavily populated stretch of 550. It is bad enough that we deemed it necessary to kind of do that, so.
Did you see the stack of 4 tires that have been there for a year up by the quarry?
No.
Oh, yeah. It's a small thing. I don't know, people live out in the country, yeah, anyway.
Well, it's
The area you're talking about, yes.
Yeah, and I mean, going up 550, there are the few that I think come to anybody's mind that travels on that road on any regular basis. But there are a couple that have gotten worse, then continue to get worse. And on that note, we did interview this week for that zoning technician position, which the primary responsibilities for that position would be property maintenance right off the bat. There is, I guess, the possibility of them kind of branching out into other stuff as the property maintenance season, summer season ends. Because I do know, as I understand it, it's a year-round position, part-time. So, but again, their immediate and heavy focus right off the bat will be property maintenance and specifically staying on top of these cases, because it kind of came up in the interviews this week that, yeah, Jason or I can get out there and send a letter, and then 30 days comes along and we're busy with something else, and we have not been able to maintain kind of that consistent enforcement where I think having somebody that's dedicated to doing that will be able to do that much more effectively. So we're looking forward to getting that person going. Probably by the end, we did say by the end of this week, but realistically, probably by the end of next week, we'll probably have a candidate picked out.
So we should tell our residents that if they feel that there is a violation of the property maintenance code, they should call the township hall and ask to talk to who?
Just say they have a property maintenance complaint. Just
Okay.
so that Andrea
Just so-
knows at this point that that's me, so she'll always send them to me. But I mean, when this person comes on, whoever it is, Andrea will then know that it either goes to me or this person.
Okay, so just tell Andra on the phone, a property maintenance complaint. Yeah, I did, as probably everyone has been riding around their neighborhoods more, or the snow's gone. There are a lot of junk cars in Trowbridge Park.
Yep, and not to, I certainly don't assume that they'll all be cleaned up and dealt with, but coming out of winter, especially a winter like we just had, I mean, some time for, I mean, and I say this now, and there's been certainly some time since most of the snow has melted. I mean, allow people some time to address what they want or can or need to address before we really go out and start enforcing. So, again, not to assume that they're all gonna get cleaned up, and we'll certainly keep an eye on all these places, but I feel for you, because, yeah, driving through Trowbridge,
So I will make a statement regarding that. People clean their stuff up and soon as possible.
yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
at the board meeting.
And then as far as kind of zoning ordinance updates, including like the wetlands and the housing stuff we've been talking about, maybe even data centers, once this master plan gets finalized, I mean, it's really that master plan update that's going to inform a lot of that zoning stuff. Wetlands is going to be top of my priority list on that list, and then it kind of goes down from there with the animal keeping, although data centers maybe should be up there too. But yeah, we'll get, once this master plan is approved and finalized, Jason and I have already, I mean, we've had a list of zoning ordinance updates since before we started the master plan process, and it's become longer and much more kind of finalized and whittled down, so.
Did you see that there's a bill in committee right now to take the wetlands control away from local authorities now and just keep it in the hands of the state?
I did see something on that.
Try and take everything away from
Yeah.
all these local authorities.
And that's, not to get political, but I think that's usually how lawmaking at the state level leans, is they want to take the control away, whether it's an intention or not to take control away from the locals. But that's usually how laws coming out of the state revolving around planning and zoning, how they usually lean, is removing control from local authorities, so.
Is there anything happening or anything more that's gonna be done with the 3 silos project with Vox there? I see they cleaned up the trailers and got the other side all, looks like they're gonna seed it or something. Are they kinda done with that side?
Yeah, I'm not sure, as far as like before like the big rock outcropping, so those 4 cabins you're talking about. I'm
Across
not-
of those,
Right,
they're
I'm
gonna put
not-
3 on each side
Yep.
and,
I'm not sure that really the timeline or plan on that. I have been seeing, well, one in particular, and then I've talked with I think 1 or 2 other people on the lots for sale kind of behind the rock, the single family lots. So I do have a zoning, actually, I don't know if I have the application in hand, but I've been working with a builder and surveyor on one of those lots for a house, so. I've been kind of dealing more so with those single-family lots than the stuff up front. But because the stuff up front, they're still kind of working under the approval originally given, the PUD approval. So, I guess we don't really see permit applications for those. Although when they build the new structures, we'll see kind of the general zoning compliance and building permits. But as far as like the zoning approval, that was all done through the PUD, so.
I think all those lots are sold now.
So I have a question. So those rentals in the front, are those vacation rentals? So are they added to our vacation rental by owner list?
They are not currently on there. I mean, that's a very good point. They should be on there.
Okay.
And I do know that we have been inspecting them as such.
Okay, so maybe we should add them because there's been, I don't know who follows what on Facebook, but there has been some conversation about taxes on hotels and that we don't tax short-term rentals and we don't tax campgrounds. And from a perspective, if you think about who uses our emergency services and how much that costs us, and so all those tourists that we love, and we do love them to come and use our recreation and use our services and shop and eat and all that, but it's costing communities a lot of money.
Is there a hotel tax township collects?
No,
Really?
The township does not collect a tax, no.
Governmental units can't do it. The hotels have to do it.
The hotel would collect
they
it, but it
pay.
doesn't come here, no.
So they pay, then they pay the township?
No, they don't.
Well,
It goes to them, you can only use it for marketing for their hotels.
That's how they do it today, right? The only tax collected in Marquette
okay.
County, right? I think it's a county. I don't know that.
I think it's statewide, that you can only use that.
I don't know, but it's called, it's a tax, but it's only on hotels.
Right.
And it's so much money, and it comes back to, you guys have to help me with this, but it comes back to the marketing people,
Travel Marquette.
Travel Marquette, and they get quite a bit of money, in my mind, according to this person who did all the research, to market more people to come here, which is great for our economy. But the services we as a township have to provide for that are funded by our residents. And that would be our fire department, our police department. What else do we fund? Our water people, our, when something breaks, people. So we're funding that as residents. So someone may argue that you're getting a benefit as a resident of all that, but someone on the other hand may say, I'm not. So yeah, so there's been discussion, so if you like that kind of discussion, those are kind of interesting things to follow. Yeah. And we do know who owns short-term rentals in Marquette Township. And we do know that they rent them out. Otherwise, they wouldn't apply, right? And they don't pay any taxes, I don't think.
I mean, we did, assuming it's, I think, safe to assume that once approved, they're gonna utilize it, but I do know, so for example, people who still own and live in the house full-time, and they just rent it out when they're away for a week, visiting their family or whatever. So the amount that people are renting, I guess that is what we don't know. But
Correct.
we do know where the approved ones are, and who the owners are, certainly.
That, short-term rental control bill, is out of committee now. And it's gonna be up for a vote to take that control away from the cities and
Locals.
townships also. So, and he says it's probably gonna pass.
Is that in the House?
It's in the House right now.
Yeah, so it would
But
pass
there's another bill
there.
in the Senate, so they're gonna have to do a compromise, and, if they do it, but I'm kind of assuming, since it's both Republican, that it is gonna pass.
We'll see if she signs it. Huh.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting. They could just say, there's no limit. Everybody can have a short-term rental, whoever wants it. Yeah.
And then we'll tax them.
Anything else, Eric?
Nope.
Any questions for Eric? No, 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 okay. Any announcements?
Next meeting, May 27th.
Okay,
That will be the master plan public hearing.
I'll make sure I invite the township board to attend.
and we can move into public comment, but since there's no one here, we won't have any public comment. And additional comments by planning commissioners.
Yes. And I hate to do this because it's such a nice day and we all want to get out, but I'll make this as short as possible. First of all, I want to say, even from a distance, I can appreciate the great work that our staff has done in getting the master plan over the finish line. And was watching the tapes of these sessions as well as the tapes of the township meetings, and I know that Roger Zappa has been working diligently on that PUD agreement and the financing for the Renovari thing, so I know that everybody's been busy. And I completely understand why certain things have been put on the back burner. but I have a savory pot simmering that I would like to bring to the front burner just for discussion tonight, or if you want to take some action, that's fine too. And this is the wetland ordinance amendments, or the ordinance amendments to enhance protection for the wetlands. And so what I've done is I've prepared a little handout for each of you. And if Bethany, if you would pass these down, and Eric, there's one for Jason here too, so you
Okay.
can give him that. And, you know, we started this, and Eric initiated this discussion to help protect wetlands back in June of last year. We had several meetings, some of which were supported by public comment. And then on October 8th, at our October 8th meeting, we submitted a list of suggested amendments to be tweaked by Eric and Jason, and they did. They didn't send all of our suggestions to Roger Zappa, but they sent some of them. And then Roger Zappa wrote a very detailed and good letter on December 3rd, accepting some of the suggestions that we had. The main suggestion was to have a buffer zone to protect wetlands, you know, when there's a development and so forth. And we also had some definitions of what, you know, added the definition to the definition of what a wetland was, what a buffer zone was, and so forth. And those were sent back to us, and at our December 10th meeting, we basically adopted Mr. Zappa's language for the additional definition of a wetland. We adopted it whole cloth. He approved the 75-foot buffer zone, and so that was, you know, of course, we didn't need to prove it again, but he approved that. But what wasn't included in any of the packets, and what we discussed at length at our December 10th meeting, was the need for a wetland delineation report, so that when a developer is on the land, he's got to know where the wetland boundary is, so you can get 75 feet or whatever it is from that border, right? And we had a lot of discussion, considered a lot of documents, and we voted unanimously to have a requirement that all site plans and plot plans have a wetland delineation report by a qualified professional. Lynn Durant was here. She gave a public comment. She said that, yes, that's needed in any amendment that you're going to make. You have to have a wetland delineation report. Now, and also that Lynn made a comment that maybe the 75-foot buffer zone was too large, and maybe we should reduce it to 25 to 50 feet. And we kind of said, yeah, okay, we can do that. You know. Anyway, so that was sent to Zappa, presumably, and then we didn't hear anything. And then so I got antsy in March, and I sent an email to Eric and Jason suggesting that they maybe try to tweak some language with the requirement for a wetland delineation report. I never heard back, but I'm glad I didn't, because actually, when I reflected on it, that language that I suggested wasn't even that great anyway. It wouldn't have passed Roger's smell test. So what I've done here tonight is I've given you exhibits 1, 2, and 3, which is what we sent to Zappa on December 10th, at our December 10th meeting. This is what we voted unanimously to send to him. But I've also included modifications of the wetland delineation report requirement. And the reason I think that it might be good to change that is that if we require every site plan, plot plan to have a wetland delineation report, that might be too burdensome to a landowner or a developer, because there's going to be some areas that just are absolutely clear that there's no wetlands on there. Why put a person through the cost, right? And also, this doesn't really track Roger's language, which incorporated the verbiage like, for example, any wetland designated or mapped by the Department of Energy, Great Lakes, and Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy, or other authorized entity under the Natural Resources Environmental Protection Act, and which should be reviewed individually on a case-by-case basis. So that's what he included in the definitions that he sent to us, and in the buffer zone definition that he sent to us and that we accepted. And I think that the way that this Exhibit 3 currently reads, it's just too burdensome, and I think it can be changed. And so if you look at 3A, which is the amendment, I'm suggesting a change, a modification I'm suggesting, this tracks Roger's language verbatim, except it takes the burden off of Eric and Jason, because we wouldn't want them to have to determine what is a wetland and what isn't. And it makes it less burdensome for a landowner, because it's only going to be in areas where Eagle or some other governmental agency has already said there's wetlands there. So I think this would probably be more acceptable to Roger as it's stated. And I see Eric shaking his head yes. The other thing that I'm suggesting is to amend Exhibit 2, which was the 75-foot vegetated wetland buffer area, and make it down to 25 feet. I think that would be, it would still achieve protection, but it would be less burdensome for a landowner, because the person might not be able to even build on a lot if there's a 75-foot setback.
I thought we had done that, though.
No, we talked about doing it. We said, yeah, we're gonna do it. We said we're gonna do it when it comes back. We're gonna reduce it from 75 feet.
So we're just gonna wait till it came back and then,
Yeah,
do
but
it then.
it never came back. So
Okay.
this has been sitting with,
well, I'm assuming if it did come back, it would be the 25 instead of the 75?
well, currently, everything that's on Zappa's desk, or the buffer zone that's on Zappa's desk is 75 feet.
You sure?
Oh,
So I
yeah.
thought we changed it to 25.
No, we didn't. We didn't change it. We didn't change it to 25.
We were waiting for him, maybe? Denny said we were waiting for him to return it.
We were waiting for him to return it, and he actually, I even questioned why we're even sending it to Zappa again, because he already approved the 75-foot buffer zone in his December 3rd letter to us, so we really didn't even have to send it back, but we wanted to send the whole package back to him. But we talked about, let's reduce it when he sends this other stuff back to us, and the main thing that he had to review when we sent it back to him on December 10th was the requirement of all site plans and plot plans having a wetland delineation report. That's the only thing he really had to review again, because everything else he had already approved. So we were waiting for the whole package to come back, but it hasn't come back, so and believe me, I having watched those videos and all of the complicated financing and drafting, and so I understand he's been busy, and I understand you guys have been busy too, so I'm not in any way critical. I just don't want this to get stuck in the sand.
It's, being busy is not an excuse, but.
Well, no.
I hear you. Yep.
And then we got the chickens clucking
Yep.
in the backyard here to get their ordinance too. So I'd like to move this along. So I'm offering these two changes, 2A, changing it down to 25 feet, and 3A, which will not, it won't apply to every site plan and every plot plan, only those that are located in an area that's been designated as a wetland area. And it's not, so, I mean, you know, but you need that delineation report, otherwise you can't measure the,
Sure.
you know, the buffer zone, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, those are my suggestions, and we can just, I mean, I could make a motion to send these to Roger. if that-
I would suggest that.
Yeah.
Just to, not to say it needs to be restarted, but that would help to
No, okay.
kick it off again here.
All right, so my motion is this. In addition to the material we've already sent to Attorney Zappa for review regarding the changes to the zoning ordinance to enhance protection for wetlands, I move that we send to him exhibits 2A and 3A.
Okay, before you go any further, though,
Yeah.
I think that I just want to make sure it's done right, and I don't think this is done right, because
Okay.
in order to vote on something, it has to be an agenda item, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh.
Is that correct?
Well, how about consensus? How about we just say by consensus, can we send it to him?
I don't think so. I think if you want to get it done right,
Okay.
you want to make sure it's done right, but I don't know for sure. I'm just,
Well, I don't
I'm
know what
just,
you-
you know, asking Eric, I guess, and,
I don't know enough to answer that, yes or no, unfortunately.
How about this? How about if I just
Wait.
make a request, rather than a motion? I
Yeah.
just make a request.
I think, just to be safe, that would probably be
Yeah,
the,
okay.
just
good.
from my experience on committees, I'm pretty sure that they have to be an agenda item to vote on them.
That's fine.
And being that way, I think we've had motions on this matter, well, no, I don't think, I know we've had motions on this matter before to send language to him, so I don't think it's out of bounds to just make it a request like you're suggesting.
Yeah, I mean, our vote on, and I looked at the minutes, in fact, I've got the minutes here, on December 10th, all five of us voted to send exhibits 1, 2, and 3 to Zappa for review. But okay, let's just, I'll make a request that, Eric, that you forward these to Roger. You can send him the original 1, 2, and 3 as well.
Yep, I will. I'll send them all and I'll
Yeah.
explain, type up a little, kind of like what you just said. I'll probably listen to the recording and type something off.
Yeah, and we, you know, I mean, he'll see that, I hope he picked, maybe he hasn't had a chance to pick up 1, 2, and 3 that we sent to him, but he'll see that we adopted his language
Yep.
to add to our definition of wetland. We, you know,
The delineation requirement, that was not only Jason and I's and Rogers, but also other staff. That was kind of our sticking point, was it's gonna be burdensome to require somebody who just wants a $35 fence permit.
right.
Right, and that was, I know that's an extreme example, but that was a.
No, you know, it's like when we did the junk ordinance, or the
Yeah.
flood ordinance, you know, we were going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And so after I started reading this again and reading this letter, I thought, no, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense to have every site plan
Yep.
and every plot plan. It would be like crazy, I mean, you know.
Yep.
So this would only be in
Right.
those areas designated by Eagle or NEPA.
Which is another, like you said, takes the burden off township staff to identify those wetlands, and you can say, we're using the state maps.
Well, in fact, in his letter, he devotes one sentence, and he says, I absolutely do not want to place the burden on the administrative staff to determine where wetlands are.
Yeah.
This has to be, you know,
So then you're saying on any property, if that property isn't designated wetlands by any of these entities here, then they don't have to do anything with it. It has to be designated by these agencies that there are wetlands on it.
right, they
What
don't
you're
have to
saying.
have a wetland delineation report. Now, if they,
So who has, but they have to do the report on that property then?
they don't.
To me, it reads as the zoning administrator has the authority to tell somebody whether they need a wetland delineation report or not.
That's right, that's right. In
Okay.
By using those maps
By
that
using
you
those
list.
maps.
right?
Okay.
The Eagle map, yeah.
On the
So
other
it's
hand-
still kind of up to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's
I
not
thought
on
that's
us
what
to
you
go
were
out
trying-
there and say, here is where the wetland is, here are your stakes, and here's where you can build. That's on Eagle with their maps to do, or not, maybe not Eagle, but a surveyor with their equipment, using the Eagle maps to,
Yeah, a wetland delineator.
exactly.
Yeah, and Eagle publishes a list of 66 of these in
Yep.
the state of Michigan, and there's 15 of them here in Marquette County, or maybe not that many, maybe 10. So there are, you know. Anyway, okay,
So I think we should probably add that under unfinished business then, so we don't forget that.
Yep. And we
Yeah.
had been including it kind of as a placeholder.
Yeah.
And then we would put it on there and then we wouldn't really, we just kind of skip over
Yeah.
it because,
yeah, can we, look-
But I think that's okay.
Bill
Yeah.
a few times because you weren't here and we
We-
wanted the discussions with you.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, let's
I think
leave
we
the thing on
mentioned that at one
for
time.
unfinished
Okay.
business, and that's the agenda, is just a discussion. And
Yep.
let's just we keep moving forward, because as I say, we've got these other chicken ordinances that we want to address too.
Yeah.
And let's get, I mean, maybe we don't want to address them, but maybe we
No,
have.
no, I think we do because the ordinance says they can't have them.
Right.
And so we have people having them, so let's make it I mean, it's foolish, let's make it legal because someone is gonna come up here and ask if they can have them and they're gonna be told no. And then they're gonna go to the neighborhood and all these people have them. So let's do what's right.
Yeah,
I agree.
okay.
Yeah, I don't care which way we go, just so we do it.
Okay, that's my end of my comment. Lips are sealed.
Yeah, and they're good comments.
Thank you.
And, but I guess I'd still like to find out if you could somehow, if that's true or not, if we can make a motion and vote on it if it's
Yeah,
not
I
an
can-
agenda item.
Yep.
I thought I remembered that from somewhere, I just would like to
Yeah,
find
you know,
out.
I think one time I tried to, I tried to change the agenda.
Dan-
I couldn't do it.
Okay. Thanks, Den. That didn't take up much time.
But
All right, Bethany, you have any comments?
None.
None.
And Winslow? And I don't either. So, meeting adjourned. At 7:23.